They say you never really know someone until you marry them. What they don't tell you is that sometimes you don't know them even after 7 years of marriage, 2 mortgages, and a joint checking account that's been bleeding dry for months. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name is Ethan Ford, and I'm a contractor. Not the fancy kind who builds mansions in Martha's Vineyard. I'm the guy who fixes your leaky basement and renovates your kitchen for a price that won't require a second mortgage. I'm 39, balding slightly, carrying 15 extra pounds around my middle, and according to my wife Melissa, I'm comfortable. That's rich people speak for boring. Mel, that's what everyone calls her, is a real estate agent. The successful kind. The kind who wears designer suits to open houses and drives a BMW she leased with her commission checks. At 34, she's still got that magnetic quality that turns heads at parties. Dark hair, green eyes, a smile that could sell a condemned building. We met at my brother Owen's birthday party 8 years ago. Owen's the golden child, former college quarterback, still looks like he could play, works as a bartender at an upscale place downtown where he makes more in tips than I do in a week. Everyone loves Owen, including, as it turns out, my wife. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The first crack appeared on a Tuesday in March. I came home early from a job, the client had to reschedule, and found Mel's car in the driveway alongside a silver Mustang I didn't recognize. The front door was locked, which was weird because Mel never locked it when she was home. I used my key, quietly, because something in my gut told me to. Voices from the kitchen, Mel's laugh, the kind she used to give me back when we were dating, and a man's voice, smooth and confident. "You deserve better than this," the man said. "Better than him?" "Jason, stop." But she was still laughing. "It's complicated." I stood in the hallway, frozen, listening to my wife flirt with another man in our kitchen. Jason Miles, I knew the name. Her business partner on a few big sales. Flashy guy, drove that Mustang, always wore too much cologne. "What's complicated?" Jason asked. "He's a contractor. You're closing million-dollar deals. You've outgrown him, Mel." I should have walked in. Should have confronted them right there. Instead, I backed out quietly, got in my truck, and drove around for 2 hours, my hands shaking on the wheel. That night at dinner, Mel asked about my day like nothing had happened. I smiled and said it was fine. She never mentioned Jason's visit. The second crack came a week later. Mel's friends, Tara, Bree, and Dee, came over for their weekly wine night. I was supposed to be working late, but the job finished early again. I parked down the street and came in through the back door, planning to surprise them. I heard them before I saw them, gathered around our kitchen island with their wine glasses. "I'm just saying," Tara was saying, "if you're not happy, why stay?" "It's not that simple," Mel replied. He's stable, safe." "Safe is code for boring," Dee said, and they all laughed. "What about that guy you mentioned?" Bree asked. "The business partner?" "Jason." Mel's voice got quieter, more intimate. "He's exciting, successful. He gets me in ways Ethan never has." "So why not leave?" Tara pressed. "Timing," Mel said. "And honestly, I should have dated Owen instead. Now there's a real man." My brother. She was talking about my brother. I stood there in the darkened hallway listening to these women I'd cooked for, joked with, welcomed into my home, tear me apart. Listening to my wife fantasize about my brother while planning her exit strategy with her lover. I didn't confront them, not yet. Instead, I started paying attention. I noticed Mel's late-night showings that went until midnight, the way she angled her phone away when texting, the new lingerie that I never saw her wear around me, the credit card bills showing dinners at restaurants we'd never been to together. I started documenting everything, photos of receipts, screenshots of our phone bill showing hundreds of texts to Jason's number. I set up a small camera in our garage, completely legal since it's my property, and caught them kissing next to her BMW. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed the perfect moment. 3 weeks later, Mel announced we were hosting a party. A big one. Networking opportunity, she called it. Translation, a chance to show off to her real estate friends and clients. I played along, helped her plan the menu, hired the caterers, even cleaned the house top to bottom. She seemed surprised by my enthusiasm. "You're being really great about this," she said the night before the party. "Why wouldn't I be?" I smiled. "I want you to be happy." She actually looked guilty for a second. Then her phone buzzed, probably Jason, and the moment passed. The party was on a Saturday. 50 people crammed into our house and backyard. Real estate agents, clients, neighbors, friends. Owen came with his girlfriend Lexi, a sharp-witted paralegal who'd always been kind to me. My best friend Pete showed up with his wife, and Jason Miles arrived fashionably late, driving that stupid Mustang, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. I watched him work the room, watched Mel's eyes follow him, watched them exchange loaded glances when they thought no one was looking. I waited until everyone had a few drinks in them, until the party was loud and loose. Then I found Mel in the kitchen, surrounded by Tara, Bree, and Dee. "Having fun?" I asked, my voice casual. "It's a great party, Ethan," Mel said, her tone slightly condescending. "You actually did something right for once?" A few people nearby went quiet. Tara smirked into her wine glass. "I try," I said. "Though I heard I'm pretty boring. Safe. What was the word you used? Comfortable?" Mel's face went pale. "What are you talking about?" "Your wine night. 3 weeks ago. You didn't know I was home." The kitchen was getting quieter now, more people tuning in to the conversation. "Ethan, this isn't the time." "You said you should have dated my brother instead," I continued, my voice still calm. "That I'm not a real man like Owen." Mel's face went from pale to red. "You were eavesdropping?" "In my own house? That's not eavesdropping, that's existing." Tara stepped forward. "Maybe you should give her some space, Ethan." "Space?" I laughed. "Like the space Jason Miles has been enjoying for the past few months?" The kitchen went dead silent. Someone in the living room turned down the music. Mel's eyes went wide with panic. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Silver Mustang, parked in our driveway on March 15th while I was supposedly at work. You two in our kitchen, him telling you that you deserve better than me." Jason appeared in the doorway, his confident smile faltering. "Hey, man, I think you've had too much to drink." "I haven't had anything to drink," I said. I wanted to be clear-headed for this. Mel grabbed my arm. "Ethan, please, can we talk about this privately?" I pulled away from her. "Why? You didn't have a problem discussing our marriage with your friends. With him?" I pointed at Jason. "Why should I be private about it?" "Because you're embarrassing yourself," Mel hissed. "Am I?" I looked around at the crowd gathering. Neighbors, friends, clients, all watching. "Let me ask you something, Mel. In front of all these people, are you sleeping with Jason Miles?" "How dare you? Yes or no?" Her mouth opened and closed. Jason started backing toward the door. "You know what?" I said. "Let's ask someone else. Someone whose opinion you clearly value more than mine." I pulled out my phone and dialed Owen, putting it on speaker. He answered on the second ring. "Hey, Ethan, what's up?" "Owen, you're on speaker. I'm here with Mel and about 50 other people. Quick question. Did Mel ever hit on you?" Silence on the other end. Then, "Jesus, Ethan, is this really the time?" "Just answer the question." Owen sighed. "Yeah, she did. At that barbecue last summer. You were inside getting more beer. She told me she'd made a mistake, that she should have gone after me instead of you. I shut it down immediately and told her to never bring it up again." The room erupted in gasps and whispers. Mel's face had gone from red to white, her mouth hanging open. "You told him to shut it down?" I asked, making sure everyone heard. "Of course I did. You're my brother, man, and she's married to you. It was completely inappropriate." "Thanks, Owen. That's all I needed to know." I hung up. Mel was shaking. "Ethan, I can explain. Can you? Because it sounds pretty clear to me. You've been sleeping with Jason, fantasizing about my brother, and telling your friends I'm not good enough for you." Tara tried to intervene. "Mel, we should go." "You should stay," I said, "since you all had such strong opinions about my marriage. Here's what's going to happen. Mel, you can have Jason. You two deserve each other. But you're not getting my house, you're not getting my savings, and you're definitely not getting my sympathy." "You can't just kick me out," Mel shouted. "Actually, I can. The house is in my name. I bought it before we got married. Check the deed." That was a lie. The house was in both our names, but I wanted to see her panic. Jason finally spoke up. "Look, man, maybe we should all calm down." "You should leave," I said, turning to face him, "before I decide to share the video of you and Mel making out in my garage." His face went white. "You're bluffing." I pulled out my phone and played the video. 10 seconds of them kissing passionately next to her BMW, his hands all over her. Someone in the crowd said, "Oh my God." Jason bolted for the door. Mel stood there, tears streaming down her face as her friends awkwardly tried to comfort her. I looked around at the crowd. "Party's over. Thanks for coming." They filed out slowly, whispering, staring at Mel with a mixture of pity and judgment. Our neighbors, Mr. Vance especially, looked absolutely delighted by the drama. When the house was finally empty except for Mel and me, she turned on me. "You just destroyed my reputation," she screamed. "No," I said quietly. "You did that all by yourself. I just made sure everyone knew the truth." The next morning, Mel was gone. She'd packed a bag and left some time before dawn. Her car was missing from the driveway. I made coffee and sat in the kitchen, feeling strangely calm. My phone was blowing up with texts. Owen, Pete, even some neighbors checking in. I ignored them all except Owen's. "You okay?" his text read. "Better than I've been in months," I replied. "Want to grab lunch?" "Yeah." "Joe's Bar at noon?" "See you there." Joe's Bar was Owen's workplace, a upscale pub downtown with craft beers and overpriced burgers. When I arrived, Owen was already there, sitting at a corner booth. He stood up when he saw me, pulled me into a hug. "I'm sorry, man. I should have told you about last summer sooner." "Why didn't you?" He sat back down, looking uncomfortable. "Honestly, I thought she was just drunk and stupid. I didn't think it meant anything, and I didn't want to blow up your marriage over one drunken pass." "It wasn't just one pass," I said, sliding into the booth. "She's been cheating on me with Jason Miles for months." Owen's jaw tightened. "That guy from the party, the one who ran? That's him." "What a piece of garbage." Owen signaled the bartender for 2 beers. "So what now?" "Now?" I leaned back. "Now I make sure she understands what she threw away." "Ethan, be careful. Don't do anything stupid." "I'm not going to hurt anyone," I said, "but I'm not going to make this easy for her either." The beers arrived. We clinked glasses. "To new beginnings," Owen said. "To revenge," I corrected. Over the next week, things escalated quickly. Mel tried to come back to the house, but I'd changed the locks. Legal? Questionable. But I was past caring. She called me 17 times the first day. I didn't answer. She showed up at one of my job sites, making a scene in front of my clients. I calmly told her we could communicate through lawyers and walked away. Then the text started. Apologies mixed with accusations. She was sorry, but I'd humiliated her. She'd made a mistake, but I was controlling. She wanted to work things out, but I was being unreasonable. I saved every text, every voicemail, every email. Then came the break I'd been waiting for. Mr. Vance, my elderly neighbor who loved gossip more than his own wife, knocked on my door one evening. "Ethan, I thought you should know," he said, practically vibrating with excitement. "That silver Mustang was parked outside your house last night. Around midnight. Stayed for about an hour." "When I wasn't home?" "That's right. I saw Melissa let him in." "Did you happen to record it?" I asked, knowing Mr. Vance had recently installed security cameras after a package theft. His eyes lit up. As a matter of fact, I did. He emailed me the footage. Clear as day, Jason's Mustang pulling up, Mel coming out to meet him, them going inside together. 53 minutes later, they came out, kissing on my front porch before he drove away. I had her breaking and entering, trespassing, and proof of the affair, all in one neat video file. But I wasn't ready to use it yet. I had bigger plans. I called Pete, my best friend since high school. Pete was a software engineer, brilliant with computers, and loyal to a fault. "I need a favor," I said. "Name it." "Can you help me set up some, let's call them security measures, at my house?" Pete was quiet for a moment. "What kind of security measures?" "The kind that will make Jason Miles regret ever meeting my wife." Pete laughed. "I'm in. When do we start?" We spent 2 days rigging my house with cameras, motion sensors, and a few creative surprises. Nothing dangerous. I'm not a criminal, but definitely humiliating. We also set up a live stream connected to the neighborhood Facebook group. If anyone entered my house without permission, everyone in a 3-block radius would get a notification and be able to watch in real time. "This is either genius or insane," Pete said as we finished. "Maybe both," I admitted. 3 days later, at 2 a.m, my phone buzzed with an alert. Someone had just opened my back door. I pulled up the live stream on my phone. Mel and Jason creeping through my kitchen with flashlights, heading toward my home office. They were looking for something, probably the evidence I'd collected against them. I watched them search my desk, my filing cabinets, getting increasingly frustrated. The live stream had 37 viewers now, all neighbors watching in real time. Then Jason made a mistake. He tried to force open a locked drawer in my desk. The drawer triggered the first trap, a compressed air canister that exploded with a massive bang, covering both of them in bright pink biodegradable powder. It was harmless, basically colored cornstarch, but it was everywhere. They screamed, stumbling backward. Mel tripped over a carefully placed extension cord and fell into Jason, sending them both crashing into a shelf I'd rigged with paint cans. Not full paint cans, that would be dangerous. But cans with just enough paint to spill dramatically all over them when the shelf collapsed. Blue paint mixed with pink powder. They looked like a failed gender reveal party. The livestream viewer count was up to 63. The comments were rolling in. OMG, is that Melissa Ford? And that Jason guy from her office. What are they doing in Ethan's house? Call the police. I was already on the phone with the cops, calmly explaining that I had intruders in my home and could they please send someone over. By the time Mel and Jason made it to the back door, covered in paint and powder, coughing and stumbling, there were 2 police cars in my driveway and about 20 neighbors on their lawns with their phones out. I pulled up just as the cops were questioning them. "Officers," I said, walking over calmly. "Thank you for responding so quickly." "Mr. Ford, these 2 claim they have a right to be in your house?" "This is my wife," I said, pointing to Mel. Soon-to-be ex-wife, but she doesn't live here anymore, and she certainly doesn't have permission to break in at 2 a.m, especially not with her boyfriend. "I'm not her boyfriend," Jason protested, which was probably the worst thing he could have said. "So you're just a random guy she brought to break into her estranged husband's house?" the cop asked, raising an eyebrow. Mel was crying, mascara running down her paint-covered face. "Ethan, please. I just needed to get some of my things." "At 2 a.m? By breaking in through the back door?" "The locks were changed." "Because you moved out," I said reasonably. "And because you kept letting your boyfriend into my house without my permission." I pulled up Mr. Vance's video on my phone. "Here's footage from 4 days ago." The cop watched it, his expression neutral. Then he looked at Mel and Jason. "Ma'am, you're going to need to come with us to sort this out. You too, sir." They weren't arrested. I didn't press charges, not yet, but they were escorted off my property in front of half the neighborhood, looking like demented Smurfs. The live stream had peaked at 92 viewers. The video was already being shared in 3 different neighborhood Facebook groups. By morning, it would be everywhere. The video went viral in our community. Not internet-famous viral, but local infamous viral. Everyone in our suburb had seen it within 24 hours. Mel's real estate office got calls. Jason's employer, a financial consulting firm, got emails. I didn't upload the video. I didn't have to. The neighbors did it for me, sharing it with gleeful abandon. Mr. Vance was basically a celebrity. Mel called me from Tara's house, where she was apparently staying. "You've destroyed my career," she screamed into the phone. "I didn't break into anyone's house at 2 a.m, I said calmly. "You did that all by yourself." "No one will work with me now. Do you know how many clients have dropped me?" "That's not my problem, Mel." "You planned this. You set us up." "I secured my property against intruders. What you and Jason chose to do with that is on you." She hung up on me. 2 days later, I got a call from Owen. "Dude, you need to hear this." "What's up?" "Lexi and I were at Rossi's last night, that Italian place downtown, and we saw Mel. She was there with Owen." My stomach dropped. "Owen? As in, you?" "No, not me, you idiot. She was asking about me, trying to get information from the hostess about my schedule, when I work, that kind of thing." "She's stalking you?" "Looks like it. Lexi confronted her and Mel started crying, saying she'd made a mistake, that she should have chosen me from the beginning, all this crazy stuff." "What did you do?" "I wasn't there, but Lexi told her to back off or she'd file a restraining order. Then Mel left." "I'm sorry, man. I never thought she'd actually—" "It's not your fault," Owen interrupted. "She's unhinged. But Ethan, I'm worried she's going to try something. Maybe you should talk to a lawyer about getting a restraining order." He was right. Things were escalating beyond my control. But then something happened that I didn't expect. Tara called me. "Ethan, it's Tara. Can we talk?" I almost hung up. Tara had been one of Mel's biggest enablers, one of the friends who'd encouraged her affair. "What do you want?" "I want to apologize, and I want to tell you something about Mel that you should know." We met at a coffee shop. Tara looked terrible, tired, stressed, older than her 36 years. "I'm sorry," she started. "For everything, for encouraging her, for talking trash about you, all of it. I was a terrible friend to you, and I'm ashamed." "Okay," I said, not making it easy for her. "But there's something you need to know. Mel's been lying to everyone, about everything." "I'm aware." "No, I mean about more than just the affair. She's been embezzling from her real estate office." That got my attention. "What?" "Small amounts, but consistently. She's been skimming off commission checks, falsifying expense reports. I know because I work in the same office, and I've seen the discrepancies. I reported it to our broker last week." "Why are you telling me this?" Because she's going to try to blame you. She's already telling people that you controlled all the money, that she had to take extra funds just to survive. It's all lies, but she's convincing. I wanted you to know before she tries to drag you into it. I sat back, processing this. Is she going to get caught? The broker's investigating. If what I think is true, she'll be fired and possibly face charges. Good. Tara looked at me sadly. I really am sorry, Ethan. You deserved better than what we all did to you. After she left, I sat in the coffee shop for another hour, thinking. Mel was imploding, taking everyone down with her. Jason had already been fired from his consulting job. I'd heard through the grapevine. Now Mel was about to lose her career, too. I should have felt satisfied, vindicated. Instead, I felt empty. That evening, Pete came over with pizza and beer. You okay? He asked, studying my face. I don't know. I wanted revenge. I wanted her to hurt like she hurt me. But now that it's happening... You feel guilty? Maybe. Is that stupid? Pete took a long drink of his beer. It's human. But remember, you didn't make her cheat. You didn't make her break into your house. You didn't make her embezzle from her office. She made those choices. You just helped the consequences along. Helped them along with paint bombs and live streams. Creative consequences, Pete said with a grin. Besides, it's not over yet. What do you mean? I mean, Mel's not done. People like her don't just accept defeat. She's going to try something else, something bigger. He was right. 3 days later, Mel filed a restraining order against me, claiming I was harassing and threatening her. The court date was set for the following week. She also filed for divorce, demanding half of everything, including the house, my business, and spousal support. And she claimed I'd been physically and emotionally abusive throughout our marriage. It was all lies, but it was also all public record. My name was suddenly attached to accusations of domestic violence. Clients started canceling jobs. Neighbors looked at me differently. Even Pete's wife asked him if the allegations were true. I called Owen in a panic. She's destroying me, I said. Everything I've built, my reputation, my business, it's all falling apart. Then we fight back, Owen said, but we do it smart. We do it legal. And we do it in a way that ends this once and for all. How? Remember that recording I mentioned? From last summer when she hit on me? You said you shut it down. I did. But what I didn't mention was that Lexi was there. She filmed the whole thing on her phone because she thought Mel was acting crazy and wanted evidence in case things got weird. You have video of her hitting on you? Crystal clear. Her telling me she made a mistake marrying you, that she should have waited for me, that she'd leave you in a heartbeat if I gave her a chance. All while you were inside, 30 feet away, getting beer. Why didn't you tell me this before? Because I didn't want to hurt you more than necessary. But now we need it. Can I use it in court? Lexi's already agreed to testify. She's a paralegal. She knows how this works. We're going to bury Mel's credibility. For the first time in days, I felt hope. The restraining order hearing was held in a small courtroom on a rainy Thursday morning. Mel showed up with a lawyer, dressed conservatively, playing the victim perfectly. I showed up with Owen, Lexi, Pete, and a folder full of evidence. The judge was a tired-looking woman in her 50s who clearly had better things to do. Mel's lawyer went first, painting a picture of me as a controlling, abusive husband who'd humiliated his client publicly and set traps to harm her. My client fears for her safety, the lawyer said dramatically. Mr. Ford has demonstrated a pattern of harassment and intimidation. The judge looked at me. Mr. Ford, do you have representation? No, Your Honor, but I do have evidence that contradicts these claims. Proceed. I stood up, my hands shaking slightly. Your Honor, I've been married to Melissa Ford for 7 years. During that time, I've never raised a hand to her, never threatened her, never controlled her finances or her freedom. What I did do was discover that she was having an affair with a man named Jason Miles. I pulled out the video from my garage. This is footage from my security camera showing my wife and Mr. Miles in an intimate situation. In my garage, while I was at work. The judge watched it, her expression neutral. When I confronted her about the affair at a party we were hosting, she became angry. She moved out. Then, days later, she and Mr. Miles broke into my home in the middle of the night. I showed the live stream footage. The judge's eyebrows went up slightly at the paint and powder explosion. I had secured my home against intruders. What happened was a result of their illegal entry, not any action on my part to harm them. I have 70-plus witnesses who watched this happen in real time via a security live stream, and I immediately called the police. Mel's lawyer objected. Your Honor, this is clearly a setup. A setup would imply I knew they were coming, I interrupted. I didn't. I secured my property, which is my legal right. They chose to break in. The judge held up a hand. Continue, Mr. Ford. As for the allegations of control and abuse, I have character witnesses. My brother Owen Ford and his girlfriend Lexi Chen, who is a paralegal. Lexi stood up. Your Honor, I have video evidence that contradicts Mrs. Ford's claims about her husband's behavior. She played the video from last summer. Mel, slightly drunk, cornering Owen at a barbecue. Come on, Owen, Mel's voice on the video said. You know I should have chosen you. Ethan's so boring, predictable. You're exciting, successful, a real man. Owen's voice. Mel, stop. You're married to my brother. He doesn't have to know. We could... No, this conversation is over. Don't ever bring this up again. The video ended. The courtroom was silent. The judge looked at Mel. Mrs. Ford, is that you in the video? Mel's face was red. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything. It establishes a pattern of behavior, the judge said. Mr. Ford, do you have anything else? Yes, Your Honor. Text messages between my wife and Mr. Miles discussing their affair and their plans to get rid of me. Financial records showing that she'd been hiding money in a separate account. And a statement from her coworker, Tara Williams, about irregularities in her business practices. I handed over the folder. The judge spent several minutes reviewing it. Finally, she looked up. Mrs. Ford, I'm denying your request for a restraining order. There's insufficient evidence of harassment or abuse, and substantial evidence that you've been acting in bad faith. I'm also ordering you to stay away from Mr. Ford's property unless accompanied by law enforcement for the purpose of retrieving your personal belongings. Mel stood up, furious. This is ridiculous. He humiliated me. He destroyed my career. You destroyed your own career, the judge said coldly, by having an affair, breaking into your husband's home, and apparently embezzling from your employer. Mr. Ford's actions, while perhaps petty, were not illegal. Yours were. We're done here. She banged the gavel. Mel stormed out, her lawyer hurrying after her. I stood there shaking, barely believing what had just happened. Owen clapped me on the shoulder. You did it, man. It's not over, I said. The divorce still... Will go in your favor, Lexi interrupted. With this evidence, she has no leverage. Her lawyer knows it. They'll settle quickly. She was right. 2 weeks later, Mel's lawyer called with a settlement offer. She'd take her car, her personal belongings, and walk away. No spousal support, no claim to the house or my business. I accepted immediately, but I wasn't done yet. The night before the divorce was finalized, I organized one last gathering. Not a party, more like a reckoning. I invited everyone who'd been at that original party, the neighbors, the friends, the real estate agents, even Tara, Bree, and Dee. They came, curious, probably expecting drama. I stood in my living room, the same room where this had all started, and addressed them. I want to thank you all for coming. Some of you have been supportive. Some of you believed lies about me. Some of you actively participated in humiliating me. I looked at Tara, Bree, and Dee. They had the decency to look ashamed. I'm not here for apologies. I'm here to tell you that I'm done. Done with the drama, done with the revenge, done with all of it. Tomorrow, my divorce is final. Melissa will be out of my life permanently. But before that happens, I want you all to know the truth. Not my version, not her version. The truth. I played a compilation video that Pete had helped me edit. Every piece of evidence, every text message, every recording laid out chronologically. The affair with Jason, Mel hitting on Owen, the break-in, the embezzlement investigation, her false accusations of abuse. It was devastating, comprehensive, undeniable. When it ended, the room was silent. That's who you all defended, I said quietly. That's who you believed over me. I hope you remember that the next time you're quick to judge someone. I turned off the TV. Now get out of my house, all of you, and don't come back. They filed out silently. Some looked angry. Most looked ashamed. A few were crying. When they were gone, only Owen, Lexi, and Pete remained. That was harsh, Pete said. It was necessary, I replied. Owen handed me a beer. So what now? I looked around my house finally truly mine, and smiled. Now I renovate. For myself this time. New kitchen, new floors, new everything. I'm erasing every trace of her from this place. And then? Lexi asked. And then I live my life. Better than before. Happier than before. And if I'm really lucky, I'll meet someone who actually deserves me. We clinked our bottles together. The next day, the divorce was finalized. I got a text from an unknown number. I hope you're happy. I deleted it without responding. 3 months later, I heard through the grapevine that Mel had moved to another state. The embezzlement investigation had concluded with her paying restitution but avoiding charges. Jason had moved too, his career in shambles. Tara reached out to apologize again. I accepted, but made it clear we'd never be friends. My business recovered. Better than recovered. I had more clients than ever. Apparently word had spread that I was the guy who'd stood up to a cheating wife and won. Owen and Lexi got engaged. They asked me to be the best man. And me, I renovated my house exactly how I wanted it. Modern kitchen, hardwood floors, a workshop in the garage. Every corner reflected my taste, my choices, my life. I was standing in my new kitchen one evening, admiring the work, when Pete stopped by. "Looks amazing," he said. "Thanks, I'm pretty proud of it." "You should be. You rebuilt everything. The house, your business, your life." "I did, didn't I?" Pete grinned. So the loser got the last laugh after all. I thought about that, about everything I'd lost and everything I'd gained, about the revenge that had consumed me and the peace I'd finally found. "Yeah," I said. "I guess he did." The end, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next story. Write in the comments from which city you are watching.